Welcome to the Mapleside Chats, your glimpse into the CEIBS MBA. This podcast presents you with the inside scope on what happens behind the scenes of China's top business school, located in Shanghai on Hongfeng Road or Red Maple Road. The China-Europe International Business School aims to develop tomorrow's business leaders with a China depth, global breadth mindset. Sounds intriguing? Let's get started. Welcome back to the third episode of Mapleside Chats. I'm the host, Rene. So one slogan that frequently mentioned as CEIBS is China depth, global breadth. This is our unique differentiation compared to other schools. And today, we want to explore the exciting international experiences, module and track, that offered during the MBA course. Both represent the Global Breadth initiative of CEIBS. We invited Rene and Jolie from our batch to introduce the two programs, to share the immersive experience in the local culture and the insights they observed in business and economics. Welcome to you both. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. This is Jolie. And before my MBA journey, I used to work for the internet industry for like 5 years. And actually, my past background was majorly in the international journalism. So when I decided to go to CEIBS for my MBA, I really hope to have a wonderful time to explore some new opportunities from the international perspective. So that's it.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. This is Rene. Actually, I'm a passionate explorer in both professional background and life. I used to work in luxury marketing for about 10 years. And apart from that, I'm also an avid traveler who has traveled around this world and always embraced diversity and explored the unknown.
Thank you both for being here. So one of the reasons that we invited Rene and Jolie is because one of them attended a module and one of them participated in the track. These two words have been frequently mentioned in the course introduction that, our course include international modules and track, but I have a lot of people might be wondering that what are the difference and similarity between them. So maybe let's start by understanding what exactly modules and tracks are.
Okay, so for the track part, track has no credit. From the school's perspective, they help us to organize the track by ourselves, which means the students could have more freedom to decide which companies to visit and decide the exact schedule during the track.
Yeah, so which track did you go to?
I went to Singapore track in last October.
Yeah, how long was it for?
The track lasted for only 3 days, but some of us actually went there in advance or stayed there for several days later. Basically, we stayed there for 1 week.
Oh, okay. So is the duration 3 days normally how long the track will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 days. It's the normal duration.
So Rene, could you introduce the module?
Yeah, actually, the module looks quite similar to the track. The difference is that it has credits. So usually 2 or 3 credits depending on the length and complexities of the module. For example, I've joined the Ghana module and it lasts for 5 days and with 3 credits in total. And during the module, we will have lectures, in-class lectures, and also we will have company visits and also integrate with some culture visits.
All right. Out of all the options that we have, why did you choose to attend this module or track? Because for people who don't know that we actually need to bid. So it's a very competitive background that we need to bid to choose which one we go because there will be different journey schedules. So yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to add on is that for the track, you do not have to finish any formal assignments.
That's very important.
Yeah, because you do not have any credit for that. And for the track, as I remembered, actually we didn't have to kindly bid for that as long as you chose track as early as possible so that you are on the list, then you can go for that track. Yeah, so that's a little bit different between the track and module. I think Singapore is a very interesting country for me because back to 2022 and 2023, a bunch of my friends decided to relocate to Singapore to start their new career life. Also, in my long time impression, Singapore is a very wonderful country combining with prosperity and diversity. So I'm really curious about this country. And also, I learned that for the track, we can have the opportunity to visit a lot of companies in different industries. So I think it will be a very precious time for me to discover the country more deeply. Yeah, so that's why I choose to go to the country and choose to go for the track instead of just traveling there. Yeah.
Ah, okay. You mentioned that you don't need to bid for the track, but from what I know that you actually participated in organizing
Yep.
the track. So do you need to write any email to say anything for that?
Yes, the teacher who were in charge of the track will launch a kind of introduction about what the track is. So after that introduction, those who would like to be selected as the organizer
Yep.
should send an email to the teacher. So the
Okay.
teacher will finally select one or two of you to be the organizer. Yeah.
Okay. Then what exactly the responsibilities will be split between the teacher and the organizers from our batch?
Actually, the organizer should take the responsibility of organizing everything. But the teacher will give us a lot of support. For me, our teacher who took charge of the Singapore track was Ling. And she built a very good, sustainable relationship with a lot of companies as well as the alumni in Singapore. So with her supportive help, we quickly decided our schedule as well as some details during the entire track.
Ah, that's interesting. So basically, you do have the decision on
Yeah.
where to go,
Yeah.
what
Yep.
hotel,
Yep.
and then maybe the schedule for that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's really different compared to the module. So before we dive more into Singapore, let's bring back the Ghana module's perspective. So out of all the options, why did you choose Ghana?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Actually, Ghana module was the very first and only module I have chosen now. Let me tell you a story. In this module, on the very first day in the lecture, a professor has showed a slide with the map of the entire Africa marked in dark and asked us to guess why. Oh, maybe I can give this question to you, Ring. What do you think?
For me, I think maybe it's the unknown because people might not have discovered that much of Africa, or the impression that how people think of it. Maybe it's just not sure what it is, and then it hasn't been explored that much.
Ring, you're a professor, right?
Yeah, I got the
smart.
point.
Yeah, you got point. So professor has asked her to guess, and finally he revealed answer is that he think Ghana, or we say that entire Africa, is quite mysterious and unknown, not only for us, not only for the students there, but also for the entire world.
Yeah.
And which means there's lots to explore, but also there's lots of misunderstanding there. I would say that's also why that I choose Ghana as my the only module or first module, because this place is mysterious and unknown for me. I would say from various perspectives. For example, for most of people, Ghana is very new name for them.
Yeah.
There's quite a lots of information gap and about the history, about the actual culture there. Instead of that, only get this information on TV or other newspapers or things. Regarding business opportunities, that's also the thing that we heard something about. There's lots of opportunities in Africa, but what exactly they are and how we can integrate our existing knowledges or existing technologies or things to actually develop there. So this is also about the business perspective. In addition, to choose Ghana is because the visa there is not that simple for us to do. So actually we go there with business visa, and you need the invitation letter from the school or from the organization there. So if you travel there by yourself, you have information gap about the culture, about business opportunity, and also it's hard to get visa. And we also have the Ghana campus
Yes.
there. So this is also where we can base and we can get more knowledge or more information. So that's the reason I choose Ghana module.
Yeah, I did thought about whether to go to Ghana or not. And one key reason would be to go with school is a unique opportunity that you can more easily to get everything sorted, the schedule, the location, and then you can visit the campus as well. Because of my travel schedules, I couldn't fit the module into my schedule. But I think that's one very important reason as well. So you mentioned about the Ghana campus. So what's the Ghana campus like? Is it different to the Shanghai campus?
I would say it's not that big compared to, the campus itself is not that big as Shanghai campus, but it's well equipped and also like everything is convenient and modern, same as the campus in Shanghai or Beijing. Of course, you have a big classroom, well-equipped classroom, and you have lots of like discussion rooms for group discussion. And the most important thing is that in the canteen there, you can enjoy a buffet or for local food every day. The menu changes every day. When you visit country, like enjoy the food.
Yes.
It's also a way to know about this country.
Yeah, food is a very big part of your experience as well.
Yeah.
So what's the lecture experience? So do they teach differently from what we learned, we experienced in Shanghai?
I think they have well designed the course. Like almost every day that in the morning, you have lectures in the classroom. That professor will give you an overview about economic growth and also the business opportunities in Ghana. And also they bring some cultural perspective into the class. In the afternoon, we will go visit the company visits. In a 1 week module, we have visited 4 companies in the afternoon. So most of the courses are taken in Accra, the capital city, but also we will visit another place called Cape Coast, and where we can know more diverse perspectives about the culture and history. So about, for example, about the slavery history.
Yeah.
So there will be cultural visits that takes you have a glimpse of more vivid understanding about this history. And also they do invited an African chief into the class and let us know what an African chief actually do, how he can influence the culture and economic or political decisions in the countries. So this is very interesting.
It's actually a combination of lecture, company visits, but also local experience from different perspectives and different ways to experience the local culture. That's very interesting. That's something that other modules might not able to offer. Yeah, so back to Singapore, I'm curious that, because Singapore, you mentioned a lot of, or the main focus of the Singapore track is about company visits. Do we have any class or lecture?
Actually, we didn't have any class or lecture or...
Someone might really like this.
Yeah, I think so. Because we visit like 2 to 3 companies for each day. So
wow.
The schedule is quite tight.
It's quite intense.
Yeah, quite intense, yes. And we did not have any other time to
have class.
Yeah,
yes,
have lecture.
Understand. Then when you decide which company to visit or the overall schedule, was there a priority or theme of designing the schedule?
Yep. Before we started to design the schedule, actually, our teacher already has a list of potential companies to visit. So from that list, the companies are very diversified in very different across different industries, including luxury, e-commerce, health industry, and also asset management, things like that. So actually, we did not have any theme about that. If we need to have a theme, I think that should be explore the diversify of the Singapore.
Yeah. That's interesting. So was this the first time you visit the country?
Yep. This is the first time.
So what was your impression of the country?
I think it kindly strengthened my past impression. And I think the most impressive keyword that popped into my mind should be diversified, inclusive. Because when I went to Singapore, actually before the track, when travel around the entire country, I choose to go for the Loop Line as a very typical tourist. Yes,
tourist first choice. Yeah,
went on the bus and we can see the view around the country,
Yeah.
including some very famous tourist attractions, such as the Chinatown, the Little India. And you can see the huge difference between each tourist attraction.
Okay.
Yes. And that kind of feeling is really amazing and very impressive to me because I've never been to a country like that. I mean, so many different people can be included into one place, and only within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, seems like you went to another country.
Wow. Yeah.
So I think that kind of experience really precious.
Yes. So I've heard about the curry powder from the Little India is something that you must take back from Singapore. So yeah, I think that's great. So we have heard a lot of the Ghana campus, the design of the module. And because I have not been to the country, so I want to know from people that are like me that have not been to Ghana, how would you introduce the country or how would you help us to form a picture of the country?
That's very interesting. I will give two keywords. So there's lots of things that are very contradictory in this country. If use one sentence, I would say it's a combination of chaos and order.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. So regarding the chaos, you will see that comparatively the economic development status and also the infrastructure. That I still remember that when we go to one company visit, that on the road, that the road is always under construction. It's like dusk around. Maybe you have seen on TV or other places that they will have things on head.
Oh,
so they have basket on head and they have all the things to sell.
To carry around as well.
To carry around. So you will see lots of like people like this and also their life there. Compared to Shanghai or other modern cities like here, you'll find there's a chaos in it. And also in the campus place, it's more developed. But in Accra, the capital city, you can see different life there. I would say the entire country, not only from the economic like development, but also for the life, for everything here, you see chaos. And also average income and living costs, there's a large gap about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but meanwhile, the last company visit is a Chinese company, auto company. When I talk with one of the management team, she mentioned that tax here is very high, lots of inconvenience here, and then ask why you choose to have the headquarters in Ghana instead of other countries in West Africa.
Yeah.
Then she give a reason like stability.
That's very contradictory from what you mentioned or about the chaos.
Yes. So I'm thrilled about this because when you see chaos, you see business opportunities. You know that you can actually develop these opportunities and you find the needs and you can develop it.
Okay. So this is the combination or what you say would be the trade-off between the order and chaos. That's very interesting. That's something that I have not think of. Could you recall any like memorable experience or cultural experience or interactions that you have with the locals?
Yeah, quite a lot. But I would say that during the module, I think there's one thing very impressive. In one of the nights of the modules, the school has arranged a football match with the locals.
Oh, football match.
That's very lots of fun. Of course, it's just for fun. We compete with the locals. You know, even me was one of the one of the team.
Yeah.
That's very fun. Because when you walk on the streets, like every 3 or 5 minutes, you see kids. You see a group of kids playing football. Maybe they don't have shoes on foot. Maybe the place was like after rain, that it's very muddy or something.
Yeah.
As long as there is a spacious place, you see kids playing football. I would say that everyone enjoys that. And so it's like national sports. I think this is also part of the culture that we can actually integrate and also play with them and to know more about the culture.
Did you guys play with the professors or with the students?
Yes, there's professors and students.
Oh, okay. I love it. As you mentioned previously, food is one way to experience the local culture, but also sports is another way for the two groups just to connect. So not only in the lecture or just visit the companies. Yeah, that's more deep connection, I would say. Come back to the country that's much more closer to us. From the companies that you visit, which company was most valuable to you?
For me, since the trip has passed for more than half a year, the most impressive company for me, I think, should be Striker. Yeah,
Okay.
Stryker is an international company focusing on medical device. Back at the time when we visited the company, at the beginning, they give us the opportunity to experience some of their products. For example, they show us a device that could be put into patient's knee so that the patients can walk or run more smoothly. Yeah. And also they show us a very interesting product. It's a ambulance stretchers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So when there was some accident,
Yep.
actually ambulance stretchers are very important to ensure the safety of the patients.
Mm-mm.
So the stretcher was quite different from my impression on typical stretcher because it can be elevated to different
Height. Was
height.
it?
The patients can be moved around very smoothly. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I myself act as a patient and I experience by myself. I just feel like, wow, I hope that I can have the stretcher with me every day to everywhere, especially when I go travel, because it's very
Well,
safe and comfortable on that. Yes. Besides the product, I think another very interesting and impressive perspective for me is the sharing from the HR of the company. The day before we went to Stryker, I discussed with my roommate in Singapore. Yeah,
yep.
we have a discussion about whether we should focus more on strength or our disadvantage. It's quite a deep discussion. We talked very late that night. And the day when we visited Stryker, the HR, she also mentioned about that. Company had the kind of culture to help their employees to further develop their strength rather than focusing on the things they may be poor at. So I think it's a kind of a very magical experience because the day before that, we just mentioned about that and she just emphasized the idea we just think about. Also, she suggested us to read a book called Discover Your Clifton Strength.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a kind of quite famous book to help people to figure out what their strengths really are and how to develop it further. As well as our visits in the company really impressed me a lot and kindly guided me to find more opportunities in the healthcare industry
Okay.
rather than other
Okay.
industry. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a beautiful coincidence. And I think that book is on my book list now, and I'll make sure that I read it this year. That's on my
Okay.
to-do list. So yeah, I think that's beautiful coincidence that how the HR shared a different, probably a new perspective of their company culture. That how they think the strengths is the more important ones, and they help you to build on your strengths. And did you just mention that you actually impacted your career switch decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we actually visited different companies in different sectors.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the track, we should submit a survey about which company you like the most. So I went through the memos. I just think, okay, maybe Stryker should be the most impressive one. And I also kindly can feel their kindness and their
Okay.
care
Oh.
for people. I think that's something I would very value. Yeah. After that, when I come back to the school, I find myself have more preference when discovering new career opportunities I would like to choose.
That's great. And I think that's so impactful that a
Yeah.
company visit or just a sharing from the HR that actually would impact your future
Yep.
decision on your career. Oh, that's good. That's very sweet. So just coming back to if you could help organize the schedule again from the beginning, anything that you would do differently?
I think there should be two different points. The first is that because we really visited a bunch of different companies.
Yeah, it sounds like a very,
Yeah,
very tight schedule.
Yeah. So we did have a clear view about what these different companies are doing. But I think compared to other company visits in China, the domestic company visit, it's kindly lack enough depth into the real business case of different companies. Because in most case, they just introduce their business, their strategy. I think it would be better if they could give us kindly a workshop
Okay.
to deeply discover what their current challenges are. I think that kind of workshop can inspire us to think more actively and stand in their shoes to discover whether there is new ideas for them to solve the problem. Yeah, I think that this is the first point of view. And second point of view is, I think for the alumni party,
Yeah.
we could have more alumni, or we could organize it more interestingly, because at that time, I think some of us is a little bit tired after the first
Yeah.
day, but I really considered the alumni party as very meaningful for us, because I think the company visit is one part, is one side of the business life, career life, in Singapore. But if you can go deep into the individual perspective, especially the one from our alumni, also there are a lot of Chinese alumni who relocated to Singapore after their after their graduation. So I think their experience and stories are really meaningful to us about how they made that kind of decision and how they finished the transition. Yeah, so if I can reorganize it, I think the alumni party will be better.
I think if there's next time you organize it, just make sure that you organize that for a week. It sounds like a lot of things that we could have put it into the schedule.
Yes.
And we could give us a little more space or freedom when visiting the company and not just try to fit in, because I think it will be a hard decision for us to choose which company that we want to pull out and then to expand the time of the visit. Because Singapore is quite near to us, so it definitely has been an option for our graduates switch to another country to relocate to find new business opportunities. So I think that perspective is one that I have not thought about, but I think it's very valuable that how they make the transition and what could be their opportunities, how they found the opportunities. Yeah, I think that's great. Come back to our Ghana, because we talked about a lot of the cultural perspectives and then how we interacted with the locals. Do the economic development conditions in the country aligned with your imagination at the beginning, if you had any?
So the entire module gives a more in-depth understanding about this country, like from economic growth parts and from business opportunity, that what's the actual like challenges and also the opportunities there. I would say based on the entire module, I'll see that you can see that for Ghana or for the West Africa, there's quite rich natural resources they can leverage.
Yes.
And the other strength is that there's a very young and growing population. And there's also potential digital economy. These are the things that we can dig in and we may develop.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's also some barriers or challenges for economic growth there. First of all, I've mentioned that comparatively, the political is unstable there.
Yes.
I mean, Ghana is better, but comparatively, the West Africa is not that political stable.
Yeah.
And the second thing is also about infrastructure gaps. So as mentioned, that there's lots of things to do to actually improve the efficiency and also about the infrastructure. The other thing that everyone may have already known or get to know about is that about high poverty gaps.
Yes.
But I would say that the high poverty gaps is also an opportunity because the labor there might not be that expensive.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
So, and actually, this is also a social responsibility that whether you can give more employment opportunities if you develop business there. So these are the understanding and also things that I get from the module, from the experience there.
Oh, okay. Then, because you mentioned previously the last company you or the school scheduled to visit is a Chinese company. What were some other companies that we visited?
Yes, in total, we have visited 4 companies. And apart from this one Chinese company, the rest are local companies. One is about the fresh fruits company. Okay. And the other one is about cocoa. It's about chocolate. Oh. So these two are leverage the strengths, as I mentioned, the natural resources.
Yes.
Yeah, leverage the strengths of country of the continent. These two companies are very different. You see, For the fresh fruit companies, that you see that most of them are still like used laborers, used people. So
Okay.
actually they have better like social responsibility, because in that case that they offer more job opportunities there
Yes,
for people.
employment.
But this also reviews the challenges of automation
Yeah.
and also the efficiency. So this is the things that we also need to consider.
Yeah. All right. So they were a combination of local and Chinese companies. What are some of the insights or opportunities that you have seen in there?
Lots of.
A lot of?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody just pay attention. There are business opportunities in Ghana.
No, I will not tell you because I need to develop them.
Keep that in secret.
The thing is that because apart from the 5-day module, I extend my journey there.
Okay.
I extend my journey in Ghana for another week. So actually, I'm spend days not only Accra in the capital city, but also heading to the north of the country. So I would say almost cover all the big cities and also countryside about this country. So I will not say I'm an expert about this country, but actually I have in-depth understanding about this country. So along the road, you will see that Accra is already the best developed regions. When you're heading to north, you will see that the poverty rate is higher.
Yeah.
And the life there is even harder. And also you see lots of things that you have opportunities to develop, but also that's how. This is a question that I always think. For example, like travel around this road, you will see that infrastructure. Sometimes it's not a long way, but because of the terrible condition of the road, it takes double of the time to travel there, to drive there.
Okay.
And this is the problem for people to drive, but also for for trucks to deliver goods.
I think I saw one photo that you shared on your moment. That was a little short video that you were driving towards a way, or you were in the car, and there were people actually walking against you or the opposite way. Is that the condition that you mentioned?
This is one of the conditions I've mentioned.
Okay.
It's like in a city. This is already in a city, and in the city center. I would say not that well organized in the traffic. Like we drive one way and people come another way, and it's very crowded and it's a very short, like 500 meters. It takes about 20 minutes to come.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and also it's very dangerous for people walking there.
Yes.
This is also the point.
Yeah.
So along this way, I'm thinking about lots of things. Like, for example, for the goods delivery, maybe I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about whether we can use drone, because this is already very developed in China or in our market. So maybe there's opportunity for there. And also one of the things that inspired me and also impressed me a lot is that after the module, I spent one more day in Accra. The Accra we seen during this 1 week is well organized. But on this day, I went to a neighborhood called Jamestown. It's like very, very local neighborhood that lots of people live there, and their living condition is a little bit below average.
Yeah.
So when you walk through there, you will see the living condition they're in. The neighborhood is like near the seashore. Most of them are fishermen.
Okay.
Because we also went to Cape Coast, another part of Ghana that is very clean.
Oh.
The beach is very clean, and stay in a resort. It's like just for holiday. But there, this is also a beach, but the beach is full of rubbish. It's rubbish mountain. And people live there was quite suffer about that because their life is based on fishing, and this kind of rubbish will ruin their life.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that maybe this could be a very good ESG project.
Yeah. I think this is.
In that way, we can actually to seek the opportunity or to think how to indeed help the people there.
Yeah, I think this different impression or what you saw in the center of the city and also the labor or the neighborhood, it reflects the gap that you mentioned at the beginning. It's the gap of
Chaos.
It's the chaos
and
order. And it's the gap of the living conditions, the income levels. And this is very interesting. And please just share with me your schedule of your trip, and I might want to consider and just copy that when I visit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was visiting.
I think it's a very, very interesting place to visit with a rich culture and also a very different perspective from what we've seen in a lot of well-developed countries like the Europe or the US or even in China. And it's a different perspective. Yeah. All right. So just to wrap up, I want to ask the last questions. Any of you guys have visited or attended the modules domestically in China?
Yeah, I went to the Guangzhou Shenzhen module
Okay.
in this March.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. What are the differences would you think about between the international experience and domestic modules in China?
I think our slogan could fully present the difference.
Yeah.
China depth, global breadth.
Yeah.
Right? So for the domestic module, we could deeply discover the new trend as well as the situation of different companies. For example, when we visited the first company in Guangzhou, it was Xiaopeng. Yeah, actually, it's a company that show us a lot of new trend about the flying car. Before that, totally had no idea about that cars are going to fly in a very near future because the government is actually promoting that by new policy.
Yeah.
Another thing is that a lot of companies we visited in domestic module, the leaders of these companies are CEIBS alumni, maybe they're MBA or EMBA, yeah. So they organized a lot of workshop and show us the real situation, the real case in their business, and ask us to give our own insights about how to solve these problems and deal with these challenges. So we could have a very precious opportunity to utilize what we learned on campus as well as our understanding about the companies and give our ideas. And the leaders, they will not only listen to our ideas, but also give us a lot of meaningful feedback about whether our ideas could work or not. Yeah, I think this is one thing that the international track cannot fully, realize.
Yeah, I think I have not thought about using the slogan to explain it, but I think you well summarized it. The differences is because I attended both international module and domestic module. So I think with the local, we do gain a very more deep understanding with the local companies and how they utilize their strengths of the culture in the city. For example, I attended both the Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and also the Changsha one domestically. So as you mentioned, the Shenzhen and Guangzhou one, it's more about entrepreneur and also technologies and tech development and how we taking probably an advanced next step in some of the areas or the business field. And I think the one that was very impressive was the one I attended, the Changsha module. And the first company was the snack company, where a lot of local people, they to buy and they eat when they were young, and the company has grew rapidly. And it was the implication of automation and also how they improve their technology and efficiency in today's world. So I think that's a very different view that I have gained from international modules. Yeah. So last question. Do you guys have any future plan with the modules or track that you guys have in mind in the upcoming time?
Yeah, because for me, I'm going to go for exchange in this September. And when I come back, I know that there is going to be one module for Singapore again. For me, I think it's worth for me to bid for that again. I'm quite looking forward to that.
Oh, so you can gain actually a more interactive experience that you actually mentioned that if you organize again, you'll do.
Yes.
Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Rene?
Yeah, I've just finished a bidding for Malaysia module. I would say that the Malaysia module is another module that really attracted me because it's for charity reason. It's led by Professor Bala, and he will come to Malaysia to teach the students here and to do something that's not just for business, but also for charity reason. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to exchange in Brazil, but I'm going to fly from Brazil back to Malaysia to attend this module. I'm really looking forward to it. During this bidding, you need to write a letter of motivation. Wow. So actually, it will be very strict selection about the participants.
Yeah, because I've heard that this module is incorporated with another class, the EMBA as well. So yeah, we only have a limited slot for that one. Do you know when you will know the result?
There's no information about that. But I'm expecting about that because it's another module about diversity and unknown.
Yes. All right. Okay. So good luck to both of your biddings, and I thank you guys for coming again. And I think that's the end of today. Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into MBA life at CEIBS. If you have any questions or comments about this episode or the podcast in general, please feel free to reach out. Our email is in the podcast description. Stay tuned for our next episode.